Hi everybody, how you doing? I'm Paps, a writing VTuber and an artist, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of comic work that we're just going to follow up on from which we started last week. So right now I'm going to be designing, I said this is comic work. It's work for the comic, perhaps not exactly work on the comic. Allow me to explain a little bit. So in this second panel, we're going to see a big kind of like precursor civilization thing of technology, which, hang on, let me make a new canvas, which is going to be a lightning, it's going to be like lightning gun-ish, but it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to be like a multi-purpose lightning gun, right? So it's going to draw from a lot of different inspirations from a lot of different sources. So I'm going to rotate this canvas because it's bugging me that I'm working in a portrait kind of a. I was going to say perspective. Is that the right word? Perspective. Perspective. Orientation. I think that's the word. Orientation. Okay, so let me see if I can bring up my references. So, reference number one is like a spark plug. If you have never seen a spark plug before, well, you're not alone. I'm not really a super huge car dude. They look like this generally. You can see here that basically the kind of, so the purpose of this thing is to like ignite the compressed fuel inside of the engine, which makes the car go. And this little bit here is kind of like where the magic happens, so to speak. So this is connected to the rest of the car. The metal part back here is in the actual like piston, and this little bit here arcs a small thing of electricity to this metal bit here, and that ignites the fuel. Oh, you can actually see it right here. You can see that the spark is being generated between these two. I always thought that looked kind of cool. I saw this and I was like, oh, so that's how it goes. It's one of those like, cars are fascinating to me. Not because I have like any like specific interest in them, right? Like I'm not like I said, I'm not a huge car guy. But they are really cool because it's essentially like decades worth of different types of technology kind of all being brought together to do a very, very simple thing. It's like the most advanced ways of doing something really, really simple because cars are very simple. The concept behind cars is extremely simple. You load the fuel and the car goes. Well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. I may be oversimplifying it, but like the ways that the new and creative ways that they've kind of innovated to do basically the exact same thing we've been doing for 100,000 years. Again, a little bit of an exaggeration there. We have not had cars for 100,000 years. That is a massive misconception. I don't think that's even a misconception. That was just me running my mouth a little bit. I don't know. Would that count as a misconception? Is that like a misconception thing? Oh, hang on. Oh, Firefox isn't happy with my behavior. It doesn't like that I'm pulling out all these references. This image that I was trying to pull as a reference is 3,000 by 1,000 pixels, so that might be why it's not very happy with me. Sad. Well, okay. It's not all responding altogether. All right, let me restart this and I can get the last little references. I've been noticing two things, right? First of all, so the main references that I've been using are these different kind of like video game electricity guns. You can see this one here from Fallout. This is the one that I was most familiar with. This is the Tesla cannon from Fallout. There's also this arc projector from Mass Effect. The lightning gun from Quake, I believe. Yeah, those sectors are definitely very quick. Like, I think this one is for Red Faction or something or other. It's called. I think this is like an arc welder or something. It's also called an arc welder. Yeah, this one's on the arc welder. This one is from a Turok game. I forgot what this one was named. Where is it? I ended up. I remember seeing this. Hang on. I need one more. I need two more things. I need hang on. Plasma caster. So in the Fallout series, there's another weapon that I want to reference, which is the plasma caster. Here we go. Finally got it in. This is the image that Firefox kind of ran itself into the ground trying to extract from the ether of the internet. Is that why it's called an Ethernet cable? Anyway, some wiki pictures are really funny because sometimes they'll be like the most itty bitty little like bit crushed compressed 2 kilobyte PNGs you've seen in your life, and sometimes they're like the highest res like picture of, I don't know, somebody's freckle or something. You know, there's a disparity is what I'm trying to say. Right. The other thing that I wanted to look at was solid Tesla coil. Yeah, this thing. I actually looked up like lightning gun on YouTube. Some meathead, probably not the best thing I could call them. Meathead implies that they're not very smart. They were dumb, but they were smart enough at least to build an apparently working lightning gun, which, you know, did like very short arcs of plasma, which I can't imagine is good for anybody, but least of all the people that he apparently sold it to. Yeah, it was really funny. The description for the YouTube video was like, I'm interested in selling one of these. Hit me up if you are interested. Serious inquiries only. I am charging $15,000 for this thing. First of all, $15,000 for like something that's very likely to end up maiming or killing whoever wields it is a big asking price. Kind of a big asking price. I don't know. Maybe somebody's into it. And second of all, I don't know. Would somebody make like a troll inquiry for a lightning gun? I feel like that's the kind of niche thing that only that people who aren't interested in it wouldn't even like make a joke offer, you know? I don't know why I'm even grabbing the Quake gun. I feel like it's a very charming design, but it is also just like 6 different boxes glued together. Little 3-prong is kind of cool. I like that. Yeah, the 3 little prongs there. I'm kind of into that. Uh, yeah, that's one of the things that I've noticed with these is that they seem to be really enamored with prongs. You know, like these like this one. You can see it in a few of these. I wonder if it's like because of like the Gauss cannon idea, right? Like I've seen videos of I've seen like diagrams of what like a Gauss cannon would look like, and they also have like these kind of like little prongs. I don't know. Maybe it's also because of like outlets, right? Maybe that's why they have prongs. You know, it makes you think of like an electrical outlet. Oh, it's a little bit undignified. I don't know if that's also true for the plasma caster. I don't. I don't. I don't remember what the plasma caster was for in like the Fallout lore. I don't. I remember that some of the weapons were just like basically, oh yeah, the U.S. government made this to maim people, and you know that was kind of the end of story. I don't remember what the plasma caster's like secondary purpose was. I remember it being like really difficult to get in some of the other Fallout games. I remember that I almost never used it. You know, back when it was called the plasma rifle in Fallout 1. I remember that I almost never used it because I very, very rarely ran energy weapon builds. Hmm. Not quite what I was picturing. Hang on. I, hmm. This one looks a little bit more solid. I don't know, something about the thicker coils. It always makes me anxious whenever, like, especially when, like, technological things are top heavy. I feel like that thing's going to topple over at any minute. You know, one of those scientists is going to sneeze too hard, and all of a sudden the floor will be, well, not lava, but certainly another dangerous kind of like electrified substance. Oh, here's another good one. Large solid state Tesla coil DIY kit. Oh no, that's a set of words you never want to hear together. Whenever it's like something, whenever you're fucking around with something like technological or like scientific, and it says DIY kit, you want to take a step back from that situation. You want to like seriously reassess where you're at. Oh, yeah. Is there like a diagram? Hang on. Spark plug in engine. Spark plug in car. Oh yeah, there they are. You can see pretty good. Oh, these have two little prongs. That's interesting. I didn't know they could do that. Oh, here's another good one. Okay. I'm thinking. Hang on. Trying to think of how this might work. Okay, I've got a vague idea. Okay, so first let's get these organized. I have a bad habit of like cluttering up my working space with like way too many references, that half of which I'm not ever even going to end up using. But I feel like it's justified a little bit in this case. I'm not about to claim that I know what I'm doing here. Which in some ways might make it more realistic, because this is supposed to be like a broken kind of lightning gun. So maybe me not knowing what it's supposed to look like might actually work in its favor. Okay. Okay, solid Tesla 1. Solid Tesla 2. Speaking of things that I have no like reasonable experience with. Okay, that's not true. I knew a guy who owned a drone in like high school, right? This is before like drones could be used to like feasibly carry packages and everything. There was this dude in my high school who was a really nice kid, a theater kid, kind of theater kid, computer science kid hybrid, which is a very rare kind of specimen. He was huge into filmmaking. Um, Hey Ben, how you doing? Howdy. Uh, I forgot the name of this one. I really want to say that I remember the name of this one Turok thing, but I only found it just like googling lightning gun references. I'm gonna call it Turok Gun. Anyway, yeah, I knew this one kid in high school, big into like filmmaking. He had a drone for like one of those drones with like cameras attached to it, and he used to take like aerial pictures. Doing just peachy, a bit sauced. How goes you? I'm doing pretty good. I've run a lot of errands today. I did some laundry, got some food together. Yeah, I'm getting rid of. I don't know. I like the Quake guns like horizontal prongs. I feel like that might actually be something. That might actually be something. Yeah. Tesla cannon is interesting. And this one was like the actual spark plug arc. I was gonna say arc plug spark, which is also not a bad name for it. Arc plug. If you think about it, it really is like a small plug that arcs. Yeah. Anyway, that is the extent of my experience with drones. I've heard that apparently they're planning to use drones instead of fireworks for a few places this year. I think that's kind of a neat idea. I like obviously it's not going to be the same, right? But at the same time, I feel like with all like the issues of air quality and such going on right now, I feel like it's a better idea to have that kind of like limited fire hazards in as much capacity as possible. God, it really is the 4th of July, huh? Good thing I'm not American. Random question I've been meaning to ask. Hypothetically, if one was to make a game and include a likeness of yourself, would you mind? I mean, I don't think I would. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if they're like making me out to be some kind of tyrannical creature who is hell bent on the destruction of humanity, I'd get a little bit. I'd have a few questions. But other than that, I don't think I'd have a problem with it. I'd be very flattered. Yeah. I don't know. I feel that's a very interesting question. I feel like that question would have a lot of different responses because I feel like some people would like a lot of people would definitely love to see themselves in a video game, I think. They would be for sure flattered, but I also do think that like there would be some people who are like, I'm not super comfortable with that. I think it's always a good thing to ask for permission for stuff like that. A random unassuming bag of rice, but being near it can inflict random debuffs. Yeah, being near me and inflicting random debuffs. I feel like I've gotten that as a teacher's commentary on my report card before. I don't think I would be particularly. Wait, are you making a game, Van? Are you like what? Are you making a game? I didn't know. I didn't know if you are you making a game. If you are, that's huge. Congratulations. And even if you're not, that's still kind of like a funny idea. I think that's still cool. Yeah, no, for sure. Throw me in there and let me debuff people. That's very true to my real life fighting style. If I can, I've realized a long time ago that like I'm not like capable of being like an obstacle to anybody, right? Like obviously I've got the fighting spirit in me, but I don't think like reasonably speaking I could be an obstacle to anybody if they were intent on doing something. So being that I can't be an obstacle, becoming a nuisance seems like a pretty good second place. That's a really funny idea. I hope it goes well with the game development. Yeah. That reminds me, I do have a copy of RPG Maker lying around. Yeah, I'm glad to be on board. Yeah, I do still have a copy of RPG Maker lying around. I've been meaning to mess with that thing. I don't think I could make anything like particularly. I think if I did make something, it would end up being like one of those like 15-minute games that are just like either incomprehensible or like a 15-minute long shitpost. Not to knock on those kinds of games, though. Like those are still made with love to some extent. I remember when I was first streaming, I had this huge itch.io, like what do you call it? Like this huge itch.io pack from like a charity I donated to, and there was this one game called like the Wanderer something or other. the Wanderer, the Journey, or something like that, where it was about this dude who was like trying to play music in a place where music was banned. And it was like a 30-minute jaunt. It was super quick. Nothing particularly like super interesting. But I still like I still have like a fond memory of playing through it, right? And like it was one of those what do you call game jam projects. Like even if you don't have that much time on it, even if you don't have like too much to be able to put into it, right, one way or another, I still think it's always cool to like make something, right? Like put something outside of yourself. That's what art's all about. I've been messing around with like different control schemes in Street Fighter 6. I've recently realized that trying to play with keyboard might actually be better for me in the long run than playing with controller, because on controller I've been having some issues with like button management because I'm playing with a thumbstick, right, rather than the like directional pad. And my directional pad isn't isn't super comfortable. So I've switched to like a keyboard layout where you have the what do you call the ASD keys being what like control your character, and you have spacebar to jump. I tried it for like 5 minutes. It seemed to be like fairly intuitive. I really, especially because like that way, especially I feel a lot more comfortable playing classic controls. Keyboard is superior most of the time. What, for fighting games? I never got that impression. I don't know. I think like the fact that like the fight stick is seen as like the fighting game icon really like in general. Huh. Yeah. No, I feel like the fight stick being seen as like the trademark of fighting games has kind of like, it messes with you a little bit. Like a lot of the people in Evo and like what do you call it, in like Combo Breaker and everything, they use controllers. They had controller players in all kinds of brackets. And hang on, Tesla Cannon, Tesla Solid Tesla 1, Solid Tesla 2. Is this Solid Tesla 1? Yes, it is. Right? Like so, controller is for sure a way to play it, particularly if you're using modern controls in the Street Fighter 6. That's what it was designed for, right? Controller play. But first of all, I need to like wean myself off. It's very awkward, right? Because like in World Tour mode, the one that I've been playing, you don't get a full list of like character movements right out of the bat, right? Like as you kind of progress with each character, you unlock more of their moves. And the issue with that is that it's going to bust my muscle memory up something fierce once I actually try to like play the game for real. To be fair, I did say most of the time, mostly comes down to personal preference. Yeah, I imagine the same thing goes, right? Like with fighting games and such. Similar to like how some people like the fight stick more and some people like the controller more. I don't know. I do want to try learning keyboard, not for any kind of like specific reason, but mainly because I do think that if I'm going to learn how to play the game using classic controls, I'm going to need some way to hit more buttons in like an arrangement outside of the controller. And there do exist like those leverless controllers, right? Like the leverless controllers that have like 6 face buttons that are specialized for fighting games, but those are hella expensive. This feels like a cost-effective solution, right? I'm never going to be like a super deep fighting game guy. So I feel like it's like a happy medium for me. All right, so here's what I'm thinking, right? Kind of like three-pronged head, or maybe even like two-pronged. I'm gonna make the whole thing first, and then I'm gonna make the broken version. Okay, so the two prongs here first. And there we go. I've always wondered if getting the keyboard add-on thing for controllers would solve this issue. I, I mean, That'd definitely be kind of like a bulky way to play. Like, I imagine then it would kind of be like, hang on, like, hang on, there has to be like one of those GameCube keyboard controllers around here. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at this thing. So I'm actually kind of a fan of this design because I feel like this is almost like the optimal way to play because like the D-pad and the thumbstick isn't nearly as efficient as having the WASD. I feel, that's a personal preference of mine though. But yeah, assuming you can like work your right hand sufficient dexterity. What in God's green earth? That's a GameCube controller, dude. Officially licensed by Nintendo themselves, I think. Hang on, I'm gonna need to GameCube accessories. Here we go. Let me see. Keyboard. ASC2 keyboard controller resembles a standard GameCube controller pad stretched to accommodate an alphanumeric keyboard in the center. The keyboard requires the use of 2 controller ports and contains both Latin and Japanese hiragana characters. It was developed for use with Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2. My god. Not gonna lie, that activated my fight or flight response. There are some weird keyboards out there. Some really weird, interesting keyboards. Hang on, like, have you ever seen like those like ergonomic keyboards? Hang on, where is it? Not this one, not this one. I'm looking for a very specific. The what ergonomic keyboards. Here we go. So, you know how like the human hands aren't supposed to be like palms down most of the time? You're supposed to like the most natural position for your hands is to be like kind of like to the side, right? So they've made keyboards that can like curl up like a tent like this so that it reduces the amount of strain on your wrist. Yeah. My dad has one of these, I think. He also has one of those ergonomic mice that look more like joysticks than actual mice. You know, I've been meaning to see if I can't get one of those like ergonomic mice myself. Get my hands on one of them. Don't get me wrong, I like my hashtag gamer mouse a lot, but I don't know. I have like big old wrestler hands, so I like mice that have a lot of surface area, so to speak. Because like the thing is, right? There's like one Best Buy near where I live, and that's where I got my current mouse. But I feel like it's just almost still a little bit small. Like it's not easy for me to rest my hand on it. Bit paranoid about the health of my wrists. Want to mess around with those keyboards. Yeah, no, wrist health is super important. I know I do a lot of exercises with like punches and everything. I still practice martial arts from time to time, so I'm not too concerned. I'm not like super crazy about drawing. I'm glad that I didn't have drawing as a career. At the end of the day, that's something that sounds a little bit discouraging. But I'm really glad that I did not choose art as my day job because I feel like if I had, I would have completely fucked my wrists by this point. I'm thinking about like how much of an issue it would be to try and learn how to like do stuff with my left hand. And when I think about that, it's like, yeah, art ain't a game, I suppose. And this is gonna look like an e-cigarette or something. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let me pull up an e-cigarette reference. These things better not look boring as hell. Here we go. Huh. Spark plugs and cigarettes kind of look the same, huh? I hadn't thought about it before. Then again, I don't think about spark plugs too often, or e-cigarettes for that matter. So it makes sense that I never connected the dots. Hyperactive right now, gonna leave you with a lurk. No worries. Let's see. Yeah, enjoy your evening. Let's see. Okay, so let's grab these parts here and there. Nobody tell Raph that I snuck in an electric cigarette into this design. I don't even like electric cigarettes. To be fair, I don't like acoustic cigarettes either. That's still the funniest idea to me. Like instead of saying like analog or like just leaving apart the electric thing altogether, the qualifying adjective, so to speak, just saying like acoustic for whenever something has like an electric version. Yeah, I prefer acoustic motorcycles. Sadly, this is actually a perfect reference for what I need. Hang on, so there we go. And then we're gonna have like a big old kind of like mushroom top right around here. Okay. I found the easiest way to make like these kind of like ribbed patterns is to kind of like split them into sections, almost like a roly-poly. Right? Like you start filling in the gaps between. Wait, is the top of these? Okay, hang on. This is like a little bubble on top of these. Oh yeah, that's solid metal. I've made a mistake. Okay, here we go. Thankfully, it's easily reversed. Okay. Gonna have it like this. Wasn't. Hang on. Weren't there like computer vacuum tubes too? Hang on. Yeah, these things. I remember that these are where the word bug originally came from. You know, like software bugs? Occasionally, an ant or something would like walk into one of these suckers and get sapped to death, and that would naturally upset the kind of like delicate ecosystem you see within them. So that's where the phrase kind of like bugs came from. Very cool. I really like older technology like from this time period. They were trying to do something that was really ambitious with the resources that they had. And they still pulled it off, albeit to like an extent they couldn't, an extent that couldn't be compared to what we have today. But this was like the forefront of it. These were the pioneers of that technology. I have a lot of respect for these little like light bulb looking things. This one. I like this one. Grab it here. Move this into the reference folder. Okay, so what we're gonna do is first of all get to the right layer. Okay. And then Okay, so we'll make this part here kind of like the bottom half of this. Kind of like how we got here. So we'll have like... Hopefully I won't have to draw this thing from too many angles, but even if I do, it's still a fairly simple design. So, I'm not too worried about it. Okay. There we go. And like this, then like this. Then like this. I mean, obviously, in like the actual thing, the you wouldn't be able to see like as much of the angles here, but okay, kind of like a smooth. No, I feel like these guys are definitely more like they wouldn't be into like that kind of like quasi biological design. Like I was gonna say, like we'll have like some smooth curves here, like some kind of like shellfish or something, or like some kind of pincer. But I don't think given the vibes that I've given it so far, I feel like these guys would definitely have more like brutalist vibes. No curves, no kind of like soft edges, just hard 90-degree turns. And maybe we can have like the actual coating of the thing around here. Hmm. Okay, maybe having like three of the, maybe kind of taking some cues from this. Maybe we can have like some huge power tank looking. What's like a transformer look like? The electrical thing, not the toy series. Yeah, this thing. Here we go. 110 kilovolt power transformer. Uh, what's the biggest electrical transformer look like? Hmm. Hmm. Okay, so I reckon one of these, but like huge, mounted up on this thing's back is going to be kind of like what we're aiming for. All right, time to keep erasing some of these so I don't get jump scared by my own references, as I am wont to do. Oh, yeah, I got lost in my train of thought earlier. I was talking about this dude I knew in high school who owned a drone because I'd heard that. Right. The replacing drones with fireworks. I don't know. I feel like fireworks have something which drones don't, which is explosives. I mean, you can explode a drone, but it's gonna cost you quite a bit. The technology has advanced a lot in the last 10 years, but it's not quite there. It's not quite at using a drone as a skeet shooting target kind of levels of affordability. It's much like VR in that regard. I remember that one time I went to an art gallery with my friends. In high school, I took like advanced art as a class. Yeah, right. I didn't know that was a class either when I first signed up for it. I took advanced art as a class, and my friends and I visited this one museum that had a VR exhibit. And we all took turns putting on the helmet, right? The VR headset. And there was only like one. This is like the one VR thing in the gallery. Like, I called it a VR exhibit. It was like one artwork that incorporated the use of VR. And like, if you turned around, right, like you just heard heavy breathing at first. Like you put on the headset and the headphones and everything, you heard like this kind of heavy breathing, but you couldn't see anything. And it turns out that you had to turn around to see it, to see like this like huge golden statue dude, like bleeding molten gold. That was a really cool thing, but like it's still really funny that like half of the people who went there was like, yeah, no, the VR thing was super weird and lame. It didn't even have anything. Nothing happened in there. And I was like, the fuck you mean nothing happened in there? We saw Atlas bleed from his lungs, and you were just like, nothing happened? And they were like, what do you mean Atlas bled from his lungs? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean Atlas bled from his lungs? It was a whole thing. After that, I got interested in trying to make like VR artwork of my own. But then I realized our school and, also myself didn't have any VR headsets that we could use for that. So that idea was kind of dead in the water. I don't, I don't know. I don't think I have enough space to do like VR streams. Unless it's one of those VR games where you just sit down, and even then, that's not super. I don't know. I don't know how that makes for good content. Yeah, some kind of trust structure, I think. Okay, so we have this version, which is supposed to be like the active version of it, right? Again. Like this, like this, like this. I don't know. For this sort of thing, do you want like more metal or like less metal? Like, I think the lower to the ground you can get this thing, the better. Also, hang on. Let me abuse my liquefy tool a little bit to kind of like course correct this thing. There we go. Now it looks a little bit straighter. Oh, wait, no. Hmm. No, I think it would definitely have to be like single pronged because I feel like otherwise, then the point of it being like a spark plug feels a little bit obsolete. I know we saw spark plugs which had two prongs, but I think like having one prong sends a stronger message. What if like, hang on, what if like maybe there was like a second horn to it, right? Like this, like some kind of like bigger, yeah. Kind of like this. Here we go. These kind of remind me of those like wacky things that are attached to the end of a door. Those things sort of you like fling them around a little bit. They make like any like wang 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 sound. The door stoppers. I forgot the word for door stoppers, and I had to do like a whole 3-paragraph sentence to describe the thing that I was thinking of. Oh, jeez. And I remember playing with those a little bit as a kid. Did I stuff one into my mouth one time? I feel like I did. I feel like I tried to eat one of those things at one point. Not successfully, obviously, but like I think child me would have been into that. I know young Pap is probably dumb enough to have tried that at least. Or curious enough if you want to look at it more charitably. Let's see. Okay. I wonder if there were specific designs for Spanish cannons. No, they just look like regular old cannons. Pretty boring. Well, as boring as cannons get, like most cannons cannons are a lot like tanks in that their mere existence is something of a spectacle. You know? Let's see. Like if you see somebody cruising with a cannon down the street, you're like, "Holy shit, a cannon!" And likewise, if you see somebody cruising down the street in like a tank, you're like, "Holy shit, a tank!" I remember there was I remember my housing complex in high school was stationed very close to like this military training base, and it wasn't like a secret military training base by any means. They like it was like one of those military bases which was like very clearly labeled, right? Like, do not trespass. Seriously, we mean it. Kind of written over it. And because of that, sometimes when my friends and I were walking around in that like closer to the base, in closer proximity to the base, we would sometimes like hear like the live, like the gunshots and everything from the training. And like you could actually like we were close enough that like when they try to use like explosives to practice with, like you could feel the explosives in your body. It wasn't exactly scary, but we did kind of like hurry on our way after that. you know. I don't know. I feel like it takes a real schmuck to stick around once the explosives start going off. Very sleepy today. I've been a very productive young man. Man, I had to call a service line to renew a certain document of mine, right? And the first time I called them, I talked to this guy and I'm like, okay, listen, I want to renew this document. Can I pretty please do that? And he's like, all right, sure. We're just gonna need a list of like the specific dates you've been in and out of the country since we gave you that document. And I was gonna be like, well, why do we need that? But on like I didn't really ask a lot of questions because when you're calling a bureaucratic phone number, they kind of hold all the cards, right? Like they very much are the ones in charge of the situation. So I was just like, sure, give me a minute to pull it up. And like it turns out that the reason they didn't let me renew the document the first time I tried was because I had applied for a different type of like document than I was permitted, right? Like if you have like a specific kind of permit, you can get this specific kind of document, but otherwise you have to use this other document. So I ended up using the wrong document somehow. Well, no, I know exactly how, but like that's kind of how it ended up going. I don't know. What can we do to make this look more canon-like? How about Conquistador canon? Did the Conquistadors bring over cannons? Like they must have, right? Oh yeah, here we go. Man, look at these assholes. All right, so I think the thing to do would be to like make the scaffolding resemble this kind of like step structure a little bit more. Why did they make them like that? Like, don't get me wrong, it would have been more hard to make a slope here, right? But what I'm asking is like, why with the like gradual steps? Like, wouldn't it have been easier to just use one solid thing of wood, or would that have not been like strong, sturdy enough? Like, I don't know. I'm just like trying to connect the dots here. I do also like that in this picture you can see very slightly out of frame the dude who's holding like the ramrod they use to stuff the cannon full of gunpowder. I think of all the cannon loading jobs and cannon related like jobs you could have had. That one was probably the most stressful out of them. You know, like you don't want to be the guy measuring the powder either, right? Like one errant twitch of the eyebrow and kaboom, right? But you also don't want to be the dude who was trying to like stuff the gunpowder into the cannon hole. Because I feel like of all the different jobs related to loading a cannon, that one would be like the one with the highest percentage possibility of getting blown to smithereens like a Looney Tunes cartoon. You know, you're standing like right in front of the cannon or a little bit to the side. You're still gonna get hit by the like splash damage when the cannon fires. So I don't know. That sounds like it sucks to be that guy. Personally speaking. Okay. So yeah, instead of this scaffolding out, like these weird little like step things are in. Or we could do a little bit of like a slight thing of like double dutch, right? Maybe have like the scaffolding actually belong to like the people working the site. Mm, hmm. Hang on, I've got an idea. Pardon me for yawning so much. Let's see. Okay. Got this thing trussed up. Okay. Let me take another quick look at like how this thing is set up. Okay. Hmm. I do feel like I haven't greebled it enough. I feel like it doesn't have enough detail on it for it to be like justifiably like this. I don't know. What else can we gather from the canons of this era? I think a little like tail thing, a little like butt thingy at the end of the cannon would help its case a little bit. What else you got? They've got some kind of like little hook here, probably for like adjusting aim. But that wouldn't make any sense for if the thing here is made of glass. Unless we made like this like part right here, this metal part right here, kind of like an additional over thing here, like an additional like filigree thing. That's probably not the word that I was looking for, but like, hmm. Maybe like this? I could certainly see them having that kind of flourish. Yeah, and then, this part here would be like what's broken off. Hmm. Man, do you think these like pantaloon things were actually comfortable? I don't know. I feel like if you have like hairy legs, wearing tights like that all the time is gonna start chafing after a minute, right? Okay, this guy's holding the fuse stick, right? I was worried that these three dinguses showed up to the cannon party and just forgot to bring like a lighter of some kind. Let's see. Okay. How should we connect it to the rest of the ground, though? Unless, hang on. Okay, so we'll add a extra thing to like the metal part here, which is gonna be like a almost like handle. Now I don't know why they. And I mean, I know why this one would have. Is that a handle? Hang on. It's like, is there like a diagram showing the anatomy of different cannon types? I think that's yeah. I think that would be just like a handle thing. Hmm. I don't know. I don't. I kind of don't want to risk it. I do feel like it needs something up there, though. Some kind of like distinguishing feature. Hmm. No, not quite. Bring that back. Hmm. No, then it resembles Hawk's hat a little much. Hmm. Okay, blah blah blah. Then maybe some kind of tripod thing coming off from the sides here. I think that looks nice. Huh. Seriously, why am I falling asleep today? Oh, you know what? I bet it is. I have my fan on right now. I bet the air is making my eyes drier quickly, and I'm just mistaking that for sleepiness. My hypothetical eyes. It's drying out my mouth a little bit, though. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'd like feel like a better kind of tired if I did like more exercise. I saw a YouTube video the other day of this dude who made this kind of like a routine called the animal flow exercise, which in reality it was just a few bear crawls with like some yoga poses thrown in there. It was still like an interesting idea. I know bear crawls are supposed to be like the ultimate kind of like workout, right? You know, like more like almost as much as burpees, bear crawls engage like so many of these like different muscles and everything. One thing that I will say that I found more intuitive about that method than like the normal bear crawls that I've seen is that that dude was walking with like just the balls of his feet on the ground. It was never the whole foot. It was just like with the balls of the feet, and that makes sense because that's not like how literally every other animal does it, right? You know, dogs, cats, rabbits, etc. But you know, it never occurred to me that maybe that's how we were supposed to do it all along. I think I've been doing bear crawls wrong my whole life. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of like bear crawls back when I had compulsory physical education. I liked them, but I didn't like them. Right? I like that I had like the right to go around looking like a evil little creature skittering, but skittering in the dark. But on the flip side, you also get it's also a very exhausting exercise. Yeah, animal flow he called it. I don't know. I remember seeing a martial arts style like a kung fu style called what was it called, like Siranmen, Siranmen, which is also supposed to be based on like naturally flowing movements, and it's supposed to be like a very much like outer body centered technique. You know, like it doesn't cultivate internal energy. It like does a lot for external energy. Hmm. What else is there? Hmm. All right, let's duplicate this layer and now make it so that the cannon is a little bit more messed up. Or actually, first, hang on. Okay, let's do it like this. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I feel like this gives it a much more ominous edge. Yeah, with like the indent on the inside, very nice. I like that. And maybe like with the holes between the two, like this. And I don't know. I'm too attached to the holes. I'm too attached to the ideas of like this thing, of this like bottom panel having holes. Okay, then over here. And then after that. Hmm. Hmm. Should I put something here? I feel like something here is missing. Hmm. Yeah, this patch in particular just seems a little bit out of place. Maybe like, hmm. I mentioned like brutalist architecture for these guys before. Kind of like this. There we go. And then maybe like a secondary kind of like attachment right here towards the back. I think that'll be kind of cool. Okay, kind of like this. Perfect. Yeah. But yeah, yoga with bear crawls. I got a little bit of an extra taste for yoga when I was researching some club-based martial arts videos, and I found out about like this Indian one called Gada Yuda, which I think is like one of the few codified like I don't know. You have like 16 different codified swordsmanship schools, and then there's like maybe 2 or 3 like mace schools. I don't know. I feel like maces would have been way more common, which it might be why they didn't need to have as many training manuals, right? Like if they had like a billion different training manuals for all the different like what do you call martial arts, that might have meant like that the teacher wasn't competent or like the teaching was not sufficient. So I wonder if like they might have tried to kind of I'm not sure. Okay, erase this part here. But yeah, I think if I manage to make it to like end of stream, I'm just gonna brush my teeth and clock out for the day. I've got to work tomorrow anyway. Yeah, you got to remember to brush your teeth. Your teeth are very important. Not to me personally, but they should probably be at least a little bit important to you. Like, do you like eating? Do you like eating peacefully and without feeling weird stuff in your mouth? Take care of your teeth. Also, I'm gonna copy and paste this updated model because the old one looks a little bit. It still has like some of the different greeblings on it. Hang on. Okay, were the like staircase things? Okay, it was kind of like a staircase towards the cannon, which it's a step in the right direction. I don't know. I feel like maybe if the Spaniards had stuck the space to the like west or backwards, I feel like they would have like managed to like at least trick one dude who's like Roadrunner style jumping into the direct path of the explosive. I recently finished Neon White, and the number of times that I've accidentally done that to myself is already innumerable. So imagine how many like people you could probably get to like dupe into trying to do that with you. Right, okay, the wheel thing. Okay. Let's switch around the hue a little bit so that we know that this one's different. Okay. There we go. No, that's not right. This is better. Okay. And then after that, yeah. I don't know. I feel like out of like the different animal, like natural movement things that I've studied, I think yoga probably still has the best lead in terms of like just mobility exercises because one, yoga is old as fuck, and two, yoga is like extremely common. It's like the Shotokan karate of like it is to like CrossFit what Shotokan karate was to like the rest of martial arts, right? Like it's much more mainstream due to having been changed to specifically favor a wider audience. Let's see. Speaking of martial arts and like these scaffolds, like, hmm. I remember seeing this other video about like Qigong, which is the light body, I think it was called, like light body lightness kind of martial art, which is this video of like a dude running up like this castle wall, and you can see that he basically like parkours across the wall without being bothered. That's another video I really like. The Arknight, um, the art of like parkour before parkour existed, right? Like, I don't know. Do you think like those guys would adapt pretty well to like the modern parkour scene? You think if like before we knew what like parkour was, if we just like import more Hong Kong action cinema movies, we'd like have a better understanding of like we call it like Qigong or something rather than parkour. I don't know. When did parkour enter the modern lexicon? Parkour dictionary. I'm gonna drink some water real quick. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I remember there was like a time when I was like really obsessed with like free running and parkour. Word history, French. First known use 2002. Okay, so that's actually very surprising because hidden Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. When was that released in the West? 2000. Okay, so that was like okay. It was originally set in okay. It was like made in the 2000s, but like when was it? When was it released in the U.S.? Blah blah blah. Oh, okay. So it premiered at a film festival in May 2000. Okay, so it was like, it was in like the 2000s. And okay, so they had like Qigong demonstrations in that movie, and so there was like a very narrow window of time where like people were like, "Hey man, remember?" I don't know though. Like, hang on, where does the word parkour come from? Alteration of parcours, course, root from medieval Latin parcursus. Huh. I don't know. I feel like it's a very weird confluence that we ended up loaning that word from French rather than like from an East Asian language. Okay. Oh, it has like this secondary like tow truck tail. Hang on. I'll look up more like medieval cannons. See if that's like a common thing. Okay, no, but like they do have like a little handle back here some of the time. Okay, and then maybe for the original version, we'll also have like the little like this little tail here. I don't know. That's kind of cute looking. The little tail detail. Yeah. I don't think it would have been fully appropriate given that you don't like aim this thing. I think like more like you'd aim everything around this thing and then this thing would just fire off. I don't know though. I'm interested in the idea of like somebody just like hooking onto this thing and just like towing it away in like a massive helicopter. Kind of like how you'd relocate a bear. That reminds me, I do also want to add some like battle damage to this thing. So maybe like, hang on. So maybe we'll have like this glass part be broken to begin with. And then, well, obviously this little tip here needs to go. We can have like some kind of like weird trudge, some kind of like weird chunk here from where it was ripped off. We can also rip off one of these things. Yeah, have a few more like cracked lines running down. Make some like scuffage on the base. One of the wires is like loose or something. I'm glad I designed like the normal version first because I think like if I'd have done like the broken version first and then try to put it back together, it'd be like it'd be a complete Humpty Dumpty. Is that the right one? Okay, no, the text recognition is recognizing it. I don't know why I just skipped like a broken record there and said Dumpty 3 times. I was like, is it Humpty Dumpty or no? It's Humpty Dumpty. Did I get enough sleep today? What's wrong with me? I'm usually more on the ball than this. At least I like to think so. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in normal levels of unhinged. See, as much as I like to like make people laugh, right? I've been thinking about this a lot with like while trying to like make YouTube clips and stuff. You know, I've been trying to like catalog different like happenstances that I could record to kind of like figure out like the image of my channel, like maybe make a channel trailer or something. Dropping before the end of 2023, fingers crossed. But yeah, making a channel trailer and hang on. Where's the like power transformer? Okay, here we go. So that's how it is. But yeah, hopefully I'll make a channel trailer before the end of 2023, and it's going to be a real struggle to like have more kind of like classically funny bits rather than just like pure chaos. Because I feel like, given how low key most of the streams are, you know, how much of a chill vibe they usually have. At least I think it's chill. You know, I like to think that I project like a kind of like perhaps not cozy, but definitely kind of chill vibe. You know, I do try to cultivate that kind of like space. I fear that like putting too many funny things in there because it's very difficult to capture a like cozy vibe. I think like I could like put in like one of my tangents and everything. You know, one of the like an abridged version of one of my tangents, but I feel like that's not very enticing as a content video. And on the other hand, you know, just advertising myself as like a chaotic gremlin is also not exactly true to form. I don't want to be a chaotic gremlin, contrary to popular belief. That sounds exhausting. I don't know. If I ever have a Joker arc, I might be able to like start claiming the chaotic gremlin energy, but I don't know. I don't think I have like the energy levels to like project chaotic gremlin. Devious gremlin, perhaps, but like, probably not chaotic. I could for sure be some dude's evil vizier. I think, like, in terms of like, chaos gremlin energies. I think I'm more like an evil or bumbling advisor rather than like a proper chaotic gremlin person. Also, I'm gonna need to copy and paste the new version of this over to the old one. Okay. Okay, having somebody made like a third scaffold right here that connects these two. Yeah, I think this design is coming along. And actually, you know what? Why not just break off this entire like prong here? May just still have it like attached here, but like have the other part be kind of like ripped up right here. Kind of like that. Yeah, I feel like that's suitably dramatic. Maybe have like some corrosion here and there. Yeah, I try to like look at the damage that would occur, right? If you broke a spark plug like right in that little capacitor area. I imagine that it would just like kind of like arc weirdly. And there was this like dude who showed off his lawnmower after that little bit broke off. And the little bit kind of like bounced around inside the piston and created all kinds of problems, but it didn't like he didn't like test drive the spark plug after that, which is probably a good idea. No, it's probably a good idea to like not test drive the thing that broke. So 10 out of 10 for common sense, but minus several million points for research assistance. What's a few lost eyebrows to the cumulative knowledge of science? All right, I'm going to copy and paste this thing into this layer here. Okay, let me open up page 2 as well. Oh, thank you for the hydrate and posture check. Okay. Whew. Posture checked. And hydrationed. Okay. Oh yeah. I learned that okay, so I learned that I was about to say North Korea. That's not correct. Well, no, technically it might be as well. In Korea generally, in Korean culture, mostly South Korean, but like I can't speak for North Korea on this front. In South Korea, they count like when you are born, right? You're born a year old, right? Like they count the time that you are like in the womb or in vitro as time you've spent on Earth. So when children are born, they're like born 1 year old already. That's how it's like been accounted for in, like in administrative stuff, in like legal documents and everything. So like when you're born in Korea, you are born a year old. And they've recently changed a law that kind of like reverse this, right? So, a dude who is like 23 in South Korea is actually 22. So now the law says that, hey, you're 22 again, which I'm guessing is pretty sweet for like the contingent of people who were like no longer, I don't know, like everybody's suddenly like 1 year younger. Would that be like good for the ego for the like the people who are like super conscious about their age? I don't know. I feel like that's not really as much of a problem in a lot of like East Asian countries because of like the culture around the elderly, right? Like aging isn't seen as like a bad thing. It's like you show more respect to the elders. Which, that isn't to say that like the West doesn't have also like respect your elder culture, but like over there it's like serious. It's much more serious, I imagine. And so I don't know. Maybe like some people were like bummed out, like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to yell at the kids as much as I used to. I only have like 70. I now only have like 76 years of experience under my belt, rather than like the 77 that I thought I had. It's like it's like how like in Pokemon you can't like instruct Pokemon past a certain level unless you have like the right badges. You have to be this old to talk down to like a 12-year-old. That's definitely not how it works, but it would be funny if it were. Okay. So I'm gonna open up page 2. So I remember like what the encampment looked like. I feel like it would almost have to be like around this hill, right? Like you'd probably like start to see the beginnings of it, but like, maybe they started out here and then they found the thing behind the mountain. I don't know. Or maybe it's hidden in the mountain somehow. Hmm. I don't know. I don't know how to structure this in such a way that like it would make sense for Hawk to not see this huge fuck off spark plug thing. Hmm. Yeah, because like in most places, I feel like you'd be able to see this pretty easily. The only places that like occur to me are like maybe some kind of like, hmm, either in this kind of like little cavern here, which could also work. Huh. Actually, that definitely works. Yeah, because then I can like make a small outline of it, right? Like, which am I on the right layer? Yeah, we're okay. So like right here, we make like an outline of the broken Tesla thing, and like maybe this like mountain. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hang on. This can work. This can work. I'll make it work. Hang on. I'm gonna flip this. I feel like there needs to be an easier way to make a silhouette here. Hmm. Yeah, okay. So then maybe there's like a kind of bigger structure behind this like half destroyed one. That kind of shows how this is going on. And like maybe we only have like small details, right, of like where this thing actually is in this page. You know, it's mostly hidden in like this like mountain thing that's formed. Hmm. I know, if that's the case, I should probably make the muzzle a lot longer. Well, I say muzzle. Can't the barrel? This is the wrong layer. Yeah, maybe like big enough that it like sticks out, but not too much. You know, that like conceivably it could just be like some kind of like weird science thing happening in there. That's the case. Shrink this down just a slight bit. And then, you know, for both of these, okay, there we go. And then stretching this out a bit more. All right, how's that look? You know what? I kind of like it. I kind of like it. All right, let's reposition this thing so we can actually have the right proportions to it. Okay, and let me find the actual script so I know what like the expressions will be like. Oh, I already have it open. Fabulous. But yeah, the South Korea thing would actually be a bit of a bummer if like you were looking forward to like I don't know being old enough to like legally drink and such. I don't know. I can't really relate to that feeling, so I can't speak on that either. All right, let's see. Okay. Oh, it also has like some drones and stuff. Okay, like surrounding it here and there. I can work with that. I had this idea of like, hang on, of like this drone thing, right? Kind of similar to like how I designed Horatio's staff. It's gonna look a little bit like lidar, like a little lidar headset. Hang on. It's also gonna look a little bit like a. Hang on. Okay, so this thing's gonna be a little bit gross looking if you've never seen the SCP article for it before. Uh, SCP-131. I kind of like had an idea of them looking a little bit like this. And I forgot how. I remember these things looking a lot more friendly when I first saw them. Don't get me wrong, they're one of the few very harmless SCPs, right? I think. Yeah, SCP-131A and 131B, affectionately nicknamed iPods by personnel, are a pair of teardrop-shaped creatures, roughly 30 centimeters in height, with a single blue eye in the middle of their bodies. The subjects can move surprisingly fast, covering over 60 meters in a matter of seconds. The subjects, however, lacking a braking system, which have led to some rather spectacular, if not overly amusing, mishaps involving the creatures. The subjects seem to have the intelligence of a common house cat and are insatiably curious. Aww. Like, they're so cute. You know, conceptually. They might be a little gross if they approached you, but, like, they're cute. Anyway. Hmm. I kind of want to make them look a little bit like the iBots from Fallout as well, but I don't know if I can do that too much. Oh yeah, it might also be a benefit to like put it like outside of on the right hand side rather than to the left. I don't know. There's a lot of different benefits, right? Like having it to the left here, right? Cuts down a little bit on the panel space, but it gives it like a bigger feeling. Hmm. Let me upright this little drone that's flying around. I feel like I should have one of these suits just like casually hanging off one of the ledges, or just like about the trip. You know, maybe like balancing a little bit on this like thin catwalk. Do I know how to drop people trying to like balance themselves? Hang on. Yeah, I do. Maybe this one's like carrying like a bucket on like a little basket on their head. Okay, and then based on the page 2 that I saw or that I made, I was gonna say that like that I saw feels like a little bit inappropriate to say, given that I've made most of the like I've made most of this. Hmm. Right, how many? Okay, what part of the? Okay, we can use the section right here. Here we go. Let's see. I think kind of like lowering the emphasis on might actually be a better option. Okay, and then having this kind of like on a big platform. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. I don't know though. I feel like having a, how do you say, like having a, okay. Okay, so this is going to be like where it clears out into the mountain. Or like where it peeks through the mountain here. May have like some like glass shards from like where the vacuum tube vacuum tube collapsed or shattered, I suppose. Okay, and we have like the forest back here, kind of like maintaining that sense of scale. I don't know. We need like some kind of landmark right before this. I need to make this like building right here look super distinctive because I feel like that's going to help kind of like place people, right? What can I put here that'll really draw people's attention? Oh god, iPod scare. Hmm. Well, I mean, one of the things that I can do is also, hang on, is also like help the mountain like very clear, much more clearly have like a hole here where like the cannon is speaking out of. May have a few more holes here and there. Another thing we could do, hang on, maybe rather than making this like a natural structure, what we can do is actually make it like almost like a destroyed metal dome. Like maybe like the hole here was maybe the only part that was supposed to be like, a hole, right? But the rest of this is actually like more like corroded metal. Okay, that could work actually. Yeah, that would actually make it look really cool and alien. All right, high five, brain. Yeah. And like may like there's like a big like symbol we could use right here. Like that almost means like, dock here or something. I don't know, something that has like a very big distinguishing mark. But then I think like to kind of like offset this, we also have to make it look like slightly more fortified as well. Like maybe there's like, I don't know, what can we do to make like a smooth metal sphere more menacing? That's going to be a difficult choice. I know one thing for sure. We need to have like some kind of like hatch design here. How about a pillbox? Like one of those like pillboxes they used to have in like the World Wars. Pillbox bunker. Yeah, similar to this. Okay, I think like making like these little like peepholes might make it look more militaristic. Oh, there's even like a metal one here. Yeah, like making it look like it had like bullet holes or something. Yeah, and like we can have like small gaps here and there. Oh, this is gonna be great. And these like hatches could be used to like let in light or something in a different time period. Yeah. Have like a few like, I don't know, maybe some meteorites hit it or something. I don't know. They have some like impacts here and there. I like the idea that some dingus just like showed up to this planet, saw this thing before anybody else did, and accidentally like, rear-ended it by accident. And then having like some kind of like maybe like some kind of almost message box equipment like back here. I don't like how much these look like eyes. I'm gonna like add a little bit more detail into one of them. Let me increase the size of the eraser here. Yeah, okay. I think this is a much better look than having like it like be like a cave society. I mean, the cave society concept banged, but like, you have to sometimes you have to make like compromises. Oh yeah. Hi Andella, how you guys doing? I'm Pav, the Rising VTuber and artist, and we're working on a little bit of concept design for the comic that I'm working on. How's your stream? You were playing System Shock 2, right? How did that go? All right, productivity. Thank you for the follow. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Yeah, I need to like play the System Shock 1 remaster at some point. I feel like I owe it to myself to experience that. I still can't believe that they actually put it out and it was good. I don't know how that happened. Like everything that about the game's production seem to point to it being like a second version of like that the whole Mighty Number 9 debacle going on again. But it seems to be fine. Decent even. Man, I am so glad that I didn't have like financial autonomy when like Mighty Number 9 was a huge thing, because like, well, first of all, I was like really young still when the Mighty Number 9 thing happened. But like the fact that like I feel like I could have very easily suckered into like investing money into it makes me double think whenever I like think about investing in something. Like knowing that I would have had that close call is just terrifying. You know, it keeps me humble. Yeah, that right there is a rare kind of diss, right? Like you look like you would have backed in Mighty Number 9. That's like a rare diss. Hmm. I remember one of the like big other Kickstarter projects that was on like at the same time was like the Ouya. What did did anything like come of the Ouya? Like I feel like they definitely like flopped really hard. I don't. I think like the current like game console scam that's running there is the Amico, right? Like the Atari Amico that's like friggin' Tomi Tayariko is running, I think. And that was such a good video essay. I should rewatch it sometime. Is that still going on? It might be. I don't know. I've learned that apparently, like, if you finish up your hang on, Atari Amico. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the Atari Amiga. Wait, no, that was the actual one. I think this one is the Amico. Oh, I'm sorry, the Intellivision Amico. Let's see. That is being developed. Okay, actively still being developed and marketed by Intellivision Entertainment. Slated to be released October 2020, but repeated delays followed, leaving the console without a release date. Blah, 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 blah. After facing supply chain issues because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and also the fact that the team running it are a bunch of like jabronis, the console's release has been repeatedly delayed. Some journalists have criticized the television's presentations and the console itself. My god. Let's see. On July 4th, 2022, publications reported that the Intellivision Amico trademark had been abandoned. On July 7th, an update by Nintendo Life to its July 4 article stated that the Intellivision Amico trademark was renewed. Rather than request a further extension on the existing trademark, Intellivision had instead opted to file for a brand new one. Okay, so the last update on this thing is on the Wikipedia page at least was literally from like a year ago. Fucking incredible. Hang on. Let's look at the Intellivision Entertainment website. Let's see. Do they have like a press page? Let's see here. Privacy, terms of use, e-commerce. Fuck you mean? They have a Twitter. Let me check that. 5,800 followers on that Intellivision Entertainment Twitter. By the way, last updated March 23rd, 2022. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Good God. So yeah, I think it is still. Well, saying that it's still going on is a rather generous assessment of the situation, but it's still like it hasn't completely died yet. It still hasn't been properly killed. Oh, they're super dead? Not an unfair assessment either. Right, I was trying to figure out like what kind of landmark I could add to this to make it work. I think, hang on. Is it at all possible to like add a, hang on. Wait, I could just put them at the bottom of this like little scaffolding. I don't need to like have them do like a Final Fantasy standing in front of the frickin' what do you call Shinra building cover art thing. This is a solved problem. Let's see here. Let's shrink this guy a little bit. I feel like he throws off the scale. No object to transform. That can't be right. Here we go. Yeah, I'm going to need to make sure that these guys are all to scale. That guy, okay, now this guy's too small. I want to make, hang on. Oh, this is a good trick. Let's use this guy here as a reference. I like that because the Milliley pen that I used to draw the rest of the legs is a bit thicker, so now it looks like they just got like, I don't know, some kind of like Jenny the Teenage Robot ass boots. Let's see here. Okay, and then we'll have these three kind of like wandering in on the corner of the screen. Let's see. Okay, I see. All right, so let's have Hawk like down here. Need to be on the right layer too. Okay, there we go. So kind of like L-shaped elbow. Is that where the phrase elbow comes from? That it be, like it's L-shaped? I feel like I've had this. I've asked that question before. Where does elbow come from? Elbow etymology. Bend of the arm. Okay. Elm from Old English elnboga, or from Proto-Germanic elino bugan, literally bend of the forearm. Okay, so not L as in the letter L, but as in some kind of like Old English thing. It always fucks me up when like the etymology of a word is from Old English rather than Latin. because if it's like Latin, I can draw parallels to it with Spanish, right? But if it's in like Old English or like God forbid, like ancient Germanic, I ain't got a chance in hell. No, sir. Let's see. Actually, you know what? Hmm. I don't know. Would Horatio use Hawk to like help him get up this like ramp? I feel like that would be a nice touch. But like, would Horatio be down for it? I think he would be. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I can make this work. First of all, let's fix up the what do you call the proportions. Here we go. Okay. I forgot which side does Horatio use the cane on? I am all over the place with these character designs. I'll get it eventually. Here we go. Yeah, here's a little sneak peek of what Horatio's color design is going to be like. Let's see. Okay, so he uses the left hand on the cane. Okay. So the right hand would be the one being held here. Okay. Let's see. No, the shoulder's a little bit too far back here. There we go. I read something this morning, right, that was like talking about like how like, technique for using a walking cane. The problem is that like I don't think it's necessarily Horatio's legs that are bad. It's like a sense of balance that's bad. So I don't know if those also apply. I don't know. I don't see a reason they shouldn't. Let's see. Then over here. Hmm. First of all, let's erase that little like extra nub here. That's gonna bug me if I keep seeing it and not fixing it. Second of all, let's see. All right, let me take another look at the script real quick. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay. Then, hmm. Okay, so maybe Gora is like also here, kind of like helping up Horatio. It's gonna be a little bit distracting having two people with tails back here. I don't know. I fear that like with this many people with tails running around, particularly since they both have lizard tails, right? Like they're both like scaly individuals. The fact that like I need to really differentiate their tails so that they don't get confused, particularly in the sketches. I think I just need to like leave the tails out in the sketches and then tack them on once I get the chance. Are these drones too big? They might be a little bit too big. Yeah, I'm gonna like shrink them down just a little bit. All right, this should be good for panel 2 though, or panel 4, row 2, I suppose. Okay, then panel 5. Okay, and then panel 5 is going to be pretty easy. It's just Hawk putting on her helmet, so that's not going to be... That's not exactly a federal issue. Okay, just a few fingers here. Okay. Like that, like that, like that. Perfect, there we go. That's not the angle at which that hand is resting. That ain't the correct angle. This is the correct angle. Well, now that elbow's a little bit out of whack. Hold up. There we go. Okay. And Gord's just gonna be kind of like looking at it, at the big like mechanical thing. Maybe she's almost like looking a little bit devious. You know, a little bit excited. And I should probably be using my actual G pen for this rather than just like the Milli pen. The Milli pen's really nice, but like it doesn't have like a lot of the... I don't know. Even if it is a sketch stage, I don't want to half-ass it and kind of like forget of the potential line widths I could use. Okay. And then Horatio is going to be much bigger back here. Huh. Yeah. I'm still getting used to drawing like the dinosaur mouth. I know it's like vaguely bird-like. 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 There we go. Oh, thank you for the hydrate and posture check. Check that right now. Okay. Yeah, maybe not so pronounced with like the lower beak. Yeah, the cheeks. The cheeks were what was missing. Now this looks right. Head out early. Take care. Yes, you too. You as well. Have a good week. Thank you for dropping by. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You know, the cheeks are definitely what makes a ratio. I like to keep that in mind for the future, in case he ever starts to look like off model for some reason. There we go. Oops, too far out. Too far out. Where? Why am I not moving what I want to move? What's happening here? Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. I think I've gotten over my sleepy spell as well. I don't know what was up with that. I don't know why I was so sleepy like for 30 whole minutes. That happens sometimes, you know. Even though I've got enough sleep in the day, I'll still like get like these little spells where I feel like I'm about to fall asleep at the wheel. Proverbially speaking, not like literally. I am not somebody with a valid driver's license. I don't know. Maybe I should have gotten more into cars while I had the chance. May then I would have been more enthused into actually getting my driver's license. I don't know. The whole thing seems like a scam. Like definitely it very much assumes you're like somebody who has like maybe some kind of like supporting figure that can like drive you into take the test, or like if you have at least have like the resources to borrow a car from a driving school or something. I don't know. The whole thing reeks of a racket. I've got a buddy of mine who's been going through it with it recently, and like every single problem that I've had with the whole system, or at least every single obstacle that I've faced within the system, kind of like tripped up, right? All right, let's see. Maybe he can be almost be like winking. Maybe like a big gesture. I like how big Horatio is. Like he's definitely like on the like a big dude. So I got to really go ham with it. You gotta head out too? Alrighty. Have a good rest of your evening. Thanks for stopping by and thank you for the raid. Let's see. Yeah, I like drawing people who are like big, you know? There's something about like the just really sweeping shapes that they have. I don't know. I'm fond of drawing them. There we go. Okay, I have a little cane, the little cane right here. Yeah, I think with this we're more or less wrapped up as well. For the sketches on this page. Wait, no, hang on. One more thing. Yeah, the background for this one. I'll make it so that there's a blue background where you can kind of like see a hole in the kind of like this weird earthbound Dyson sphere. That's definitely not the term. Where this like metal dome opens up. Yeah, I think definitely on page 2 we'll have to make the particle cannon like a little bit more visible, just like really like draw attention to it a little bit. Like enough that we know that it's there, but maybe not enough that like Hawk can see that it's there clearly. Hmm. Yeah, okay. And then like right around here we can have like a new mountain or something that you can actually see in page 2 as well. Yeah, so maybe there is like a small like hill or something around here, but like not one. The Dyson sphere is not it. Yeah, yeah. Maybe with like some kind of like scorch mark on there. Yeah, like okay, yeah. Or like they try to like activate this thing and it just like created lightning everywhere. Yeah, maybe there can be some scorch marks around the rim of it too. Oh, I am so okay. My brain is huge today. I love this. Yeah, I don't know if it's like the before and after effect. I mentioned that I had like those like sleepy spells, right? whenever I finish those up, I feel like like my mind is much clearer. It's like it's like I took a nap while still being conscious. So while the experience of it itself sucks, and it's really inconvenient to get into when I'm like in the middle of something important, it's also very useful for like having a clear mind. Yeah, okay. All right, we'll do it like this then. That should wrap it up for today then. Oh, well, I'll also save the reference of the lightning gun. Okay. I think I'm just going to exit out of stream myself. Hope everybody has a good rest of their evening, and I will see you all on... Hang on, let me check the schedule. Thursday for a little bit of art fight work. That's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it this year. All right. Have a good rest of your week. Bye.